Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Brooks Garner joins me now. And Brooks, we're looking at the first tropical storm of the Atlantic season.
Yes, this is the opening volley of what will be a long season, and fortunately one that is no threat to land. Meet Tropical Storm Andrea. This is a minimal tropical storm, and it's likely only to survive today before getting torn apart and being a post-tropical low-pressure system. This is of no consequence to land at all. This is over the open Atlantic, 900 miles northeast of Bermuda, and it's heading out into the northern Atlantic. This is on the same latitude as roughly New York City. So right now it's got winds of 40 miles per hour. As I mentioned, it's a minimal tropical storm. But we go into the B storm next, and that may be a more formidable one. Remember, last year at this time we were looking at Beryl. That was ultimately the earliest Category 5. So it is possible this time of year to get some big ones. This one will not be a big one, and we have nothing else coming down the pike behind this. In fact, in the last few satellite frames, that reddish blip looks like it may be kind of losing some punch there. So this may be a very short-lived system. Here's a visible satellite image showing that same swirl. And it's just, it's not the most organized system, I'll say that, not in the least bit. In fact, there's a mid-level low pressure immediately adjacent to it on the western periphery, that mid-level swirl, and that is adding to some wind shear to tear it apart. That said, this is the red blob that we've been watching, and earlier it had that likelihood to develop, and it certainly did. Well, looking outside right now, everything's calm at our beaches. It's a good beach day out there with temps in the mid-80s. A couple of stray showers may come in from the waters today, but otherwise a dry one. And today will be remembered for probably the heat, more so than the rain chances. But that's going to change later this week. At the beaches, we've got a low to moderate risk for rip currents, waves of 1 to 2 feet. Now, the next big thing is this. This is not a tropical system, but it is coming in from the Atlantic, as a big northeastern heat wave continues to provide triple-digit, record-breaking heat for the big cities like D.C., down through Raleigh, and maybe even up into Philly and New York City with 90s there. An upper-level low-pressure system will be guided into Florida around the southern periphery of that larger clockwise circulation. And so that means it'll come in from the east and then be pushed west right over Florida. And that'll happen late this week. And in doing so, we'll see our rain chances going up significantly. It is the rainy season, so it doesn't take much to get afternoon storms pumping. But when you have an actual area of low pressure in the mid and upper levels, that represents an area of lift in the sky as well as cool air aloft. So the heat and humidity can more rapidly rise and storms can become more abundant. So while we've got a dry Tuesday on tap and what'll be a Wednesday featuring just a few isolated storms, as we head toward the end of the week, things are going to change for the storm era. Now, briefly touching on the dust, we've got another round of some dust that'll be coming in for the end of June, making for hazy skies and poor air quality. Now, the good thing about the dust is it tends to tamp down any tropical development before it could get going. So this is one of the reasons why we have nothing else coming down the pike despite Tropical Storm Andrea forming today. In fact, we could have a brand new expulsion of dust coming off of the African continent as we head into the beginning of July. It's common to have these dust outbreaks in late spring and early summer. It's usually about August that the dust finally goes away, the dust settles, and that actually allows for storms to really ramp up and get a lot stronger, and that's when we get into the peak of our hurricane season as we head into August into September.